The NewsHour Special Edition.
Namaskar, good evening. You're watching the special edition of the NewsHour and I'm Swati Joshi. The Tirupati temple has been in the eye of storm. In this multi-layered controversy, Times Now has been bringing you the latest and the fastest updates. Now, we bring you another exclusive update on this raging row. Times Now has accessed the special investigation team's sensational findings in the case. And as per the reports, the truck supplying ghee to the Tirupati temple did not originate from AR Dairy in Tamil Nadu. Interestingly, these vehicles originated from Vaishnavi Dairy, which is located in Tirupati. The truck's round trip to TTD. The report also points that the ghee was not produced by Vaishnavi Dairy, but by another dairy named Bhole Baba in Uttarakhand. The documents that have been accessed by Times Now reveal finer details of the ghee procurement. Now, in June this year, Vaishnavi Dairy, located in Andhra's Tirupati, procured ghee from Bhole Baba Dairy in Uttarakhand. In 2 batches, it procured 19,500 kg of ghee at 412 per kg and 29,000 kilos of ghee at 403 rupees per kg. Again, in July, another 64,000 kg of ghee was procured at 403 rupees per kg. Times Now has also accessed the TTD panel report that has been submitted to SIT, which reveals that AR Dairy is under probe agency scanner. The report says despite the dairy's production capacity being only 16 tons monthly, it was awarded a 6-month contract to produce 1,000 tons of ghee. TDP too had similar concerns to voice.
A dairy which only has a production capacity of 100 tons in a period of 6 months was awarded a tender to supply 1,000 tons in a period of 6 months by the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam under Shri Karunakar Reddy as chairman, who happens to be the uncle of the former Chief Minister Jagan Reddy. So this clearly shows that knowingly they have committed this sin. They know that they have a report by the TTD technical team which states that AR Dairy only has a capacity to produce 100 tons in a period of 6 months, but still they went ahead and they gave the tender to AR Dairy. Why?
We also have reactions coming in from the BJP, which has responded to the new findings, raising questions of why the protocol was not followed, involved procuring ghee in preparation for prasadam.
The findings accessed by Times Now channel exclusively as regards the origin and route of the ghee used in the preparation of the holy prasadam at TTD raise several important, pertinent and disturbing questions. Trucks which came allegedly from AR Dairy did not originate there. They originated or came from another dairy, and that too the ghee was not produced there, it came from a third place. Now this in itself raises several important questions about the supply and the authenticity of this ghee. If the entire supply chain was itself not being done as per the protocol and as per the rules and norms decided by the contract, then there is a higher doubt and higher suspicion about the adulteration of the ghee. Now, what is the real objective behind this? What was the level of collusion? Let the SIT completely come out with the truth.
We have some breaking inputs coming in as the Prasadam Rao rages on. More information coming to fore. Sources telling us that the TTD panel report has been given to the SIT and the lens is on AR Dairy's production capacity. According to the report, the dairy can make only 16 tons of ghee a month, but the contract awarded was 1,000 tons per 6 months. We have Soumya joining us in the broadcast with more details. So, Soumya, the big question here is that if this AR Dairy's production capacity was nearly about 100 tons for 6 months, why is it that a contract of 1,000 tons per 6 months was given to this dairy? That's a big question that needs to be answered. Also, multiple disclosures there being made, revelations coming to fore, part of this report, and according to sources, this has now been given to the SIT, where the production capability of AR Dairy has come under the scanner. According to the reports coming in, 16 tons a month, that's their capacity. That's the amount of ghee that they can produce in a month. Going by that, in 6 months, the dairy can produce only roughly about 96 tons to be very precise, nearly about 100 tons. But then why is it that despite this production capacity of the AR Dairy, 1,000 ton contract was given to them. Where was the rest of the ghee coming from is a big question. Somit joins us now. Somit, a big revelation coming to fore.
Well, that's true because back-to-back news breaks by Times Now, and initially we have put out how AR Dairy was, is not from where the ghee is not getting originated. Actually, the ghee is getting originated from the Vaishnavi Dairy, and from there, actually, even there, as of now, as per the information and as per the Vigilance Department report, because it was submitted to the SIT department and SIT committee, and later it was also submitted to the EO and also Chief Minister, and even now because the Apex Court has ordered for a new set constituting 2 CBA officers, 2 state officers and 1 FSSA officer. Now in that even this report will be submitted to the new set. So it is very much clear that it is the round trip. Even Vaishnavi Dairy is not producing the ghee. So there is one Bhole Baba ghee company in Uttarakhand.
To connect the dots, was the rest of the ghee being supplied by the Bhole Baba Dairy in Uttarakhand, and was it an approved supplier, approved contractor?
Well, even that is yet to be investigated because they are just, like you said, they are just connecting dots now. Initially, AR Dairy has been awarded a contract worth 32 crores, 31.98 crores to be precise. And when it comes to Swati, the procurement, 10 lakh liters of cow ghee was asked to supply, and this contract has been awarded to AR Dairy. And when it comes to even we have put out this report, it is very much clearly on our screens now, we can see it. Only 16,300 to 16,900 kgs of ghee was produced by the AR Dairy Private Limited. So it means only 16 tons a month and around 90 to 100 tons per 6 months.
Right.
So every 6 months bidding to happen, and they are producing only 100 tons and they've been awarded 1,000 tons contract.
All right. Somit, thank you very much for getting us the details. Let's in fact open this up and let's go across to our guests who are joining us on the broadcast. We have Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP. We're also joined by Deepak Reddy, national spokesperson of the TDP. We have Anurag Naidu, author, with us on the panel. Sujata Mahesh, leader, YSRCP. Syed Asad Abbas, political analyst, joins us as well. Good evening to all of you. I want to begin with you, Sujata Mahesh. This latest that we are picking up, the report of the TT, the panel has been handed over to the SIT. There are several, multiple revelations, in fact, coming to fore. One is that of the route tripping of these trucks, originating from Tirupati, then going to AR Dairy, but the ghee also not being produced by the one that is situated in Tirupati. In fact, it being brought from dairy in Uttarakhand. The big question, was it even awarded the contract? Was it even an approved supplier? Amidst all this, we're given to understand that AR Dairy did not even have the capacity to provide 1,000 tons of ghee.
Yeah. Very good evening for my co-panelist. See, here, the story, it's the articulated story here. It shows that Tirumala to ADR Dairy, ADR Dairy to Vaishnavi Dairy, Vaishnavi Dairy to, what is that? Bhole Baba Uttarakhand Dairy.
No, I'll tell you.
So, if you...
TTD, Tirupati to AR Dairy.
Tirumala.
Yes.
Yeah, AR Dairy and Vaishnavi Dairy, which you are telling this. The articulated story, I'm explaining one more time here. Because which is not reliable even for us. Okay?
So these documents are not reliable.
Yeah.
The revelation being made is not...
One second. The tanker has been rejected on July 24th, which is produced by the AR Dairy. Okay? And the AR Dairy sent the tanker to the Tirumala, and there itself it got rejected. Okay? Then it went back to AR, and again, it went back to the Vaishnavi Dairy because Vaishnavi Dairy doesn't have a contract to supply the ghee directly. Okay, they have to procure this ghee even from the Vaishnavi through the AR only. Okay, so Vaishnavi Dairy, and again, what you are saying this Bhole Baba Uttarakhand. So once the tanker has been rejected in Tirumala and it's going back to the AR Dairy. And again, it's going back to the Vaishnavi Dairy. And again, it's going back to the Uttarakhand. Is there any reliability to travel so many kilometers to get this animal fat from that tanker? That's what my question is. There is no reliability in this story because only AR Dairy has the contract to supply, to procure the
But
ghee.
even
Okay,
in
that's
that
the
case,
main
even
point.
in that case, you're questioning the
And
round
it's
tripping. I'll take a
Vaishnavi
counter from the
Dairy
TDP
doesn't have the
spokesperson.
contract.
But even when it comes to AR Dairy's production capacity, according to the reports coming to fore, it had a production capacity of only 16 tons. So in 6 months, it could have produced roughly around 100 tons. Why was a contract of 1,000 tons awarded to
What
them?
I'm giving this answer is the tanker has been rejected on July 24th, which is the government, the Kutami government. And then they are sending this, the oil, the adulterated oil to the Vaishnavi Dairy and some other dairies.
No, I'm
And
asking
why
about
they are not checking with this
1,000 ton contract being given to AR Dairy, despite knowing that it has a production capacity of only 16 tons per month.
My friend, I'm telling you, only AR Dairy has the contract to procure the ghee. And the Kutami government, why it's not taking the responsibility of this adulteration? Because it was happened on July 24th and it was went to so many dairies, and why the Kutami Prabhutva it's not putting up any board for the ghee.
Deepak Reddy respond.
Checking quality.
Deepak Reddy respond. Sujata Mahesh says there's no, you cannot rely on this. This is not reliable.
Kutami government.
Okay, let him respond, ma'am. I have not got a clear answer. We are only going. No. We are going. No. 1 second. We are going around circles. Let the TDP spokesperson respond to that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I really love to answer to YCP's lies and expose them. Let me tell you another thing. The team from Tirupati has gone to all the shortlisted tendered companies and checked their capacities in production and in production of milk also. This was way back in, some time ago. This particular dairy, it had a tank capacity. That means where you finish off all the product and store it in the tank. The tank's capacity was 4 metric tons. So each truck carries 12 tons. So if you see the finished production capacity of a finished tank, it takes 22.5 days to fill one tanker. So the tank should be there, the finished tanker should wait there for 22.5 days. I mean, if anybody knows, the math, clearly it does not come from that place. So this is an expose. And another thing, the earlier tender document clearly said that the company which supplies should have an in-house capacity of 4 lakh liters, which subsequently in these tenders, the YCP earlier government has relaxed almost 8 different conditions intentionally. And this particular contract which was given to AR Dairy was just before they left office. So in a hurry, they did this also. So clearly we can see a trail which has happened. And when you go to the checkposts, where the toll booths, which captures the images of the vehicles, clearly these vehicles haven't gone during those periods. So it has been procured locally on the name of the AR Dairy from Chennai.
Okay, procured locally. You're also saying 8 conditions. 8 conditions. Okay, relaxation was given. That's what your allegation is. Please respond, Sujata Mahesh. Quick rebuttal.
Vaishnavi Dairy and Uttarakhand Bhole Baba Dairy also. You should give you should connect the dots between the story. Understand, Deepak? You're saying how many kilometers it's saying that? See, from Uttarakhand to Tirumala.
They have found out that these vehicles haven't gone on those days. The team has found out that the vehicle hasn't crossed those toll booths.
You don't have the proper answer, but that's from Uttarakhand to Tirumala.
That is exactly what I'm telling. I mean, leave alone Uttarakhand. You don't have a trail from Tamil Nadu itself, which is 500 kilometers away. So clearly you guys are caught. Clearly you guys are caught. You can't escape this anymore.
Articulated story. Your created
shortly, there are
come
going to be a lot of people who are going to go to jail.
Okay, let me bring in Anurag Naidu. Anurag Naidu, although while these allegations continue, Sujata Mahesh hasn't answered one question. If AR Dairy had the capacity of only 16 tons per month, why was a contract awarded to them for 1,000 tons? Where is the rest of the ghee coming from? No, that is for Anurag Naidu. I'll come back to Sujata Mahesh.
Swati, the core of the matter is, Swati, the core of the matter is the moral responsibility, the ethical responsibility, the misgovernance and the corruption. These are the angles that needs to be investigated. Now, clearly, going by what even Deepak is telling, there has been an absolute misgovernance, no clarity, and no seriousness towards the quality. Now, what is this exactly saying? And right from the day when I've been telling one point, why shouldn't a contract or a tender for the ghee be a QCBS and a focus or be a focus on the least cost? You don't have to have that kind of a cost competitiveness when it comes to the prasadam. So you never had a focus on quality. You had now what is this trail telling from AR to Sri Vaishnavi to Bhole Baba? This is nothing but a typical subcontracting. Now, when you do a subcontracting in any government, you are supposed to go and tell back to the TTD, telling that, boss, I don't have enough capacity. I'm going to subcontract to some other company, and you need to get that quality certified. So TTD's responsibility was to approve it on paper, check the quality of the subcontractor, even when the supply is short, and then approve of the quality. But none of this happened. So the whole focus is going on the moral responsibility and misgovernance. Now, corruption is one angle, money trail can be another angle, which SIT needs to investigate. I'm glad there's a 5-member SIT, 2 from the representative of the CBI director himself, and the SIT will be under the supervision of CBI director. What we actually have to take into consideration this as a trigger point is, the entire TTD procurement system when it comes to the prasadam and the food to the devotees needs an investigation, needs an overhaul. Every single contract that has been given, I'm not saying last 5 years, let's say for the last 10 years or whatever records that you can have. This is the time that we take the learnings and go fix the procurement system of TTD, because it is a matter of trust, it is a matter of spirituality, it is a matter of devotion. People love Balaji, and we cannot tolerate any misgovernance or any kind of adulteration in any form. I don't want to say whether it is a fish oil or anything like that, right?
Okay. So we also have Nikul Patel on the broadcast, but let me go across to Syed Asad Abbas. Syed Asad Abbas, quality was clearly compromised. That's one of the allegations, that the faith of the devotees of Sri Venkateshwara is something that they played with. The devotees were cheated, quality was compromised, and now multiple developments and revelations coming to fore point out to the lack of or misgovernance, like Anurag Naidu is saying.
Swatiji, I've always believed, be it the Telugu Desam Party or the YSRCP of Jagan Mohan Reddy, I've always believed that if there is great power, there's great responsibility and equal accountability. The fact of the matter, also we need to understand that the Supreme Court made its observation in the order that the highest of functionary, like Chandrababu Naidu, who's the sitting Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, should be a lot more careful in all his complaints or allegations and so on and so forth. Be it Jagan Mohan Reddy and Chandrababu Naidu need to understand there are crores of people sentiment attached. My neighbor is a regular every year visitor to the temple, and he brings in the laddus, and I have consumed the same laddus. To me, knowing the sentiment attached of Tirupati Balaji, it is the highest of sentiment. People are very sensitive about this issue. So therefore, when there is that level of sensitivity, of course, it must be proved. Also, as a matter of fact, if you look at the SIT monitored Supreme Court, the special investigation team with the Andhra Pradesh police officers, along with the CBI, they need to come in full control. We need to understand, is there a wrongdoing here? Is there a corruption here? Is there a money trail here? All these facets need to be investigated accordingly. But if there is any politics of sorts from any of the respective parties, that needs to be
politics? What politics are you talking about?
Politics could be anything. Here in the matter, like the conversation which came across, that Chandrababu Naidu making a very, very serious allegation on the front that Jagan Mohan Reddy's government has done this, or his appointed
But you yourself
people.
are saying that if corruption is one of the angles that it needs to be investigated. So if that is involved, that is something that needs to be investigated. You're agreeing to it, but you're at the same time saying that this should not be politicized. Let me bring in Tuhin Sinha in that case. Tuhin Sinha, the issue should not be politicized. And like everybody is saying, faith needs to be restored. And Mr. Abbas is agreeing to it, that if there is corruption, investigate it.
Well, good evening, Swati. Good evening, everybody. The new information, the new details which have emerged in the case, especially with regard to round-tripping of supplies, are so shocking, they're so distressing that if they are true, they indicate, it could well be a planned scam. There is no politics in it over here. But I'm saying it with full responsibility, because if you look at the facts, at the core of this adulteration process, the adulteration process probably has its roots in the way two very spurious changes were made to the tendering process in 2019 December when Subbu Reddy took over as the chairman of TTD. What were these spurious changes? Number one, the procurement rules for raw material supplying companies for manufacture of ghee was changed. Previously, a 4 lakh liters cow milk procurement capacity per day was a minimum requirement for the companies who could be qualified for the tendering process. It was changed abruptly. Number two, these companies had to have a 250 crore annual income that was reduced to 150 crores. So you can prima facie, see it very clearly that the thrust was on was not on quality, it was reducing the cost, which goes against the faith of crores and crores of devotees. Now, when it comes to Jagan Reddy, he's saying that, even during his regime, 8 times he found out that, similar adulteration was taking place. Now, if that is true, he needs to provide an action taken report, by the trust. And which, if he can't provide it, it only shows that his claims are unsubstantiated. Either he was not privy to what was going on, which again seems unlikely. He was probably aware of all that was going on.
Okay.
The larger point remains, people who are adequately invested in Hindu faith need to be the chairman of such trust. And Jagan Reddy over here has a responsibility to explain his choice.
It's not just about faith, it's also about corruption. The allegation is that of corruption. It's of a scam.
Both are related. If you are adequately invested in
that's what I'm saying. It's not just about faith. It's also about the allegation of corruption being leveled.
As sacrosanct in a place as pious.
Let Sujata Mahesh respond. Sujata Mahesh.
Centuries it's going on. See, the quality check on the ghee, it's continuous process for every 6 months. This practice is going on since centuries. So, in the Jagan Mohan Reddy government, it was, 18 times it was denied the quality. And they sent back the tankers and they get the quality ghee. And it's the same thing in 2014 to 2019.
Okay, but then how do you explain?
It's not a new
How
thing.
do you explain supply from this Bhole Baba Dairy in Uttarakhand?
It's not being used.
How do you explain this round tripping?
Yeah, the round tripping, what I'm saying is either Vaishnavi Dairy or Uttarakhand Bhole Baba Dairy, it doesn't have any contract to procure the ghee to Tirumala. But what you are saying is under AR Dairy, under AR Dairy, Vaishnavi Dairy and Bhole Baba Dairy is supplying the ghee which has adulterated in the TDP government. And they send the tankers back and they get the quantity. And it's a continuous procedure in every government.
Okay.
And why you are blaming Jagan Mohan Reddy government? And it's happening in Chandrababu Naidu government.
So Deepak Reddy, the allegation is, or the counter allegation is that this adulteration was happening in your regime because the YSRCP was continuously monitoring the quality of the ghee. Continuous checks were happening.
Let me tell you some certain facts which will shock you. There was a full-fledged laboratory in the earlier TDP time government. So after Jagan Mohan Reddy's government came in, they actually scaled down that laboratory and they asked the suppliers only to get some certificates. I have a straight question. That equipment, what needed to test this animal fat and these kind of things costs about 75 lakhs. When you're procuring materials worth thousands of crores, running into hundreds of crores, why didn't you spend that 75 lakhs? Can they give a reasonable answer till date is what I'm asking. And the 8 tender conditions which they relaxed to bend the rules to hit the quality, what was the reason they have done it? Did they come out and give an explanation on that? And the last thing is, what is the action they have taken during their time when the vehicles were found
Mahesh is saying that they
adulterated and sent back?
rejected bad quality. They rejected bad quality ghee 18 times. That's her. 1 second, ma'am. Let me put across this point. She is saying that they rejected bad quality ghee at least 18 times. So there were constant checks happening during the YSRCP regime.
Exactly.
There's no connivance.
So
is the defense.
18 times if it was rejected. This, what happens, man? There is how these, how robbers work. they steal 100 times and then once or twice they connive with the police and to show as if some cases are being booked. This is exactly what it is. So if 18 times they have sent back, what corrective actions they have taken? Why didn't they streamline the laboratory process? I mean, it just cost 75 lakhs, which is a small amount. Why didn't they take any action?
Did you blacklist? Were the companies blacklisted during the YSRCP regime? Did you take action against individuals who were supplying bad quality ghee?
Not true. They haven't blacklisted anybody. Only we have done it.
2014 to 19, 20 times it got rejected, the quality ghee. And the adulteration has been happened 20 times.
Was action
Do you
taken?
know that
It's a straightforward question which is being asked.
You should know that.
Sujata Mahesh, were these companies who were supplying bad quality ghee during the YSRCP regime, were they blacklisted? Was any action taken against these individuals? Any warning given to them?
TDP government also.
No, I'm asking, what did your government do? Did you blacklist these companies?
Of course, definitely. So whatever the adulteration happens, and we are going to blacklist those companies without procuring the ghee. And here what happens is it's a regular practice.
No, ma'am, you're not getting my question, I believe. You said 18 times the bad quality ghee was rejected. So during your government, how many companies did you blacklist? Because they were supplying bad quality ghee. How many companies were blacklisted? What was the action taken?
One second, my friend. Either in TDP government or in YSRCP government, the Tirupati Devasthanam board, the members of the board, the chairman of the Tirupati Devasthanam board, definitely we will take an action on that particular company. And it's a regular practice either for TDP.
That's what I'm asking. How many companies were blacklisted? You're not giving me an answer.
Definitely.
What is definitely? Did you take action or not?
The adulteration has been happened in TDP.
You're not giving me any answers. Dr. Nikul Patel. No clear answers coming in, ma'am. Dr. Nikul Patel.
See, definitely, if you see the entire episode that had come into the notice of everyone in India now, it's definitely heartening or hurting the sentiment of all the Hindus. And that should not be tolerated. That is the first thing that has come to the notice. Secondly, if you are procuring some quality ingredients from various companies, it's the responsibility of the administration first, and whether it has been provided the quality what is required. If any adulteration is found, then it has to be definitely given a notice, and on notice, if it is not being done, it has to be punished. Now the entire politicization of the issue is happening, and that should not happen now, because it's a matter of crores of Hindus who are
but
going
Dr. Nikul Patel, if it has happened under the regime of a particular government, and if you raise fingers, how is that politicization? Are you not supposed to ask questions of that regime or that administration or the TTD board that time?
Definitely. That is what I'm administration in the broader perspective, if you see, is the temple management who is in charge of the entire production of this prasadam at
and who's the in charge of the temple board? Does that matter or not?
Yeah, it's matter. Definitely it is mattering. Everyone is, you cannot escape from your responsibility once you are given charge of any particular kind of thing. It's a matter of a big kind of money also involved in it. Because
so when you say that angle of connivance comes into picture, Anurag Naidu, Sujata Mahesh is not giving any clear answers on whether any action was taken during their regime on companies who were supplying bad quality ghee. If they indeed rejected such companies and bad quality ghee at least 18 times, were they not supposed to take any concrete action? Was the board back then not supposed to flag this and escalate the matter?
Yeah, of course. It was board's primary responsibility to settle the quality processes, like Deepak mentioned, right? I've been going to Tirupati for the last 35 odd years, twice or thrice every year. And the TTD, the processes that are followed to make the prasadam, the huge Vengamamba hall where the devotees can have food, was epitome of hygiene and quality, because there used to be a huge laboratory within the TTD premise, owned by TTD, maintained by TTD, the experts were hired to operate it, and then they would do a final quality check before the delivery is taken in. And that is where the whole compromise angle comes in. And that's why also, Swati, what I also believe is the core of all this misgovernance and the reason why this brand equity of TTD as an epitome of cleanliness and hygiene has gone down is I somehow believe that politicians, there were too much of politicians involved. The board was expanded in the last government. And let's all agree to the fact that the politicians everywhere, I mean, I'm not against a chairman being a politician or a couple of members, but everyone sitting in the room cannot be politicians. And that's where things go wrong, because you have political pressures. The purchasing committee members, some of them were the members of the sitting party which is in power, but then they were another party previously, and there is no guarantee they'll switch the party in the next election.
Okay.
So as long as you don't do away from the whole system of putting in politicians in every single chair, and like
Deepak Reddy and then Syed Asad Abbas. Deepak Reddy then Mr. Abbas.
Now I'll just quickly wrap up. What we have done, we have issued a show cause notice. We have blacklisted the company. We have revamped the procurement process. Expert committee was put. A special investigation team was put. The reverse tendering process, which was gotten by them, was scrapped, and now we're going back to the old scheduled tendering process. And now new kitchens are also being opened with higher quality standards. This is what action is. This is the seriousness by the government.
Okay, seriousness of the TB government that they're taking action to change things. Mr. Abbas, go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. Deepak Reddy, to me as a concerned citizen of this country, and knowing all my Hindu brothers who've traveled by barefoot all the way to Tirupati, many of them go from my city of Bangalore, Karnataka, walking all the way. So with respect to that, I'd like to know, sir, of course, good that you've taken all the respective measures. The fact of the matter is, my friend Anurag Naidu has raised the right point. When you have politicians controlling any of the board, there is bound to be corruption, sir. I'd really request you that none of the appointees in the chairman or director post must be from politician. Rather, have a separate committee under the Andhra Pradesh High Court to deal in these affairs. Because when you put your own men there, there is bound to be a corruption comes in. How are you going to deal with this, sir?
Okay,
and what measures are you going to
respond
take?
to this. Respond to this.
Swati, on your show today, Jagan Reddy's party has exposed its incompetence and complicity. Can they explain how they were fined with 18 instances of spurious Prasad being found, and yet they could not combat it? I can understand it happening once or twice.
Okay, but what about the board being free?
But
being free of political...
If they are confessing, if they are confessing...
Okay, what about the board being free of politicians and political links?
In due course of time, these are larger calls. In due course of time, we could all, all parties could sit together and take a call. But I think, in this particular case, let us not absolve Jagan Reddy's party of the specific, the kind of people which he put in those positions, and the fact that even now they are lying. 18 times they are saying that, spurious Prasad was found, and yet they could not combat it, yet they don't have any evidence of the action taken report, and yet, they keep being brazen on the issue instead of being remorseful.
Okay, Sujata Mesh.
Mr. Sinha, 20 times it got rejected in Chandrababu Naidu government. Okay, and did they take any action 20 times? We need to show up the papers. The Telugu Desam party has to show up the papers. Okay, 20 times, and this practice will continue since centuries. And you are not listening to that point.
Okay.
You just want
Deepak
to
Reddy, respond to that point. Sujata Mesh is claiming that during Chandrababu Naidu's regime, earlier, the bad quality ghee was rejected 20 times.
So that is exactly what I'm saying. This is a standard operating procedure of the YSR party to deviate from the facts. Now she's talking about something which happened 10 or 12 or 15 years ago. We are talking about what has happened recently.
No, but then
so this is only a diversionary tactic.
But if it happened, back then,
which was there was scaled down, ma'am. The lab which was there during earlier TDP's government was scaled down by the YCP people.
So you're saying back then there was no animal fat? Back then there was no animal fat?
Definitely not, because all precautions were taken.
Then why did you reject the bad quality ghee? Why was it rejected 20 times, as is being claimed by Sujata Mesh?
Look, this kind of an adulteration, this kind of an issues have cropped up off recently. Back then, 10 or 12 or 15 years
there
ago.
Was no adulteration back then, Sujata Mesh.
Really different. Yeah, so this is only a diversionary tactic to raise an old issue.
One point. Swati, just one point. On September 18th, Honorable CM Chandrababu Naidu Garu said this adulteration has been happened. And the next day, the EO of Tirupati Devasthanam, he said that nothing has happened and the adulteration only because of the vegetable oil, he said. And again, Chandrababu Naidu come up with the SIT, special investigation. And without putting this any proofs, how he come up with the declaration that he is giving this, animal fat has been adulterated in the ghee.
Well,
that is one point.
the investigation, okay, the investigation will continue. The investigation will continue, but the point is that adulteration should not have happened in the first place, irrespective of which government. The TDP, of course, is pointing fingers at the YSRCP, which is hitting back at the TDP. Meanwhile, it's the sentiments of the devotees that has been hurt, and the investigation should focus on who all were involved, whether it's an angle of only hurting the sentiments of people, whether it's corruption involved, who gave permission to this, who all were in the know of it. That needs to be found out and investigated by the agency. Sujata, Mahesh and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.